Hello and welcome back to the Beccy Knits podcast. If you are a new viewer, thank you for joining me. And if you are a returning viewer, then welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. You can find me on Instagram as @BeccyKnits and on Ravelry as Beccy Monday. I'll be leaving links to everything I talk about in the description box down below. If you are a returning viewer, then you will have noticed that my surroundings are slightly different. That's because we're on holiday, so it's going to be might be a slightly different podcast. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk a bit about our holiday so far in life stuff at the end. So let's just get stuck into the knitting. I apologise in advance if there's any whimpering children in the background, but it's bedtime for the young ones, and my husband is cuddling the baby right now, so yeah, I'm trying to get it done while the light is still good. So starting off with finished objects. Today is the 29th of September, and if you've watched a couple of episodes before, then you'll know that during September we have 6 Sock September, and so I've been knitting a lot of socks, and I'm very excited to show off a finished pair. This is the String of Lights by Sock Witchery in yarn by Nora George. The name of the colourway I don't know the name of, but they are finished. I was really happy to finish those. I think by the time you're seeing this, there will have been a vlog uploaded of me packing my knitting bag. I was talking about how it was a bit frustrating that I had to bring these with me because I, by the end of Thursday night, I had finished the gusset decreases, so I only had the foot and toe left to do on the second sock, and I kind of really didn't want to bring them with me because I didn't want to have so little knitting left to do on them and then have to bring the yarn even though it was then going to be used up. I did finish these on the Friday whilst we were at Andrew's parents' house, so I could then leave all that extra yarn there and not have to bring it with me, which was nice. And it also meant that I had a fresh pair of socks to wear while we were away, so that was really satisfying to do. I knit on those in the car so that I could be sure that I would get them done, and it was pretty good going. So by the time we arrived at Andrew's parents' house, I just had the toe left to do, and then I got straight on to Andrew's Christmas socks, which is my second. This is like a half finished object, but my second thing to show you is the first of Andrew's Christmas socks. So the second of these socks and this sock were my final 2 socks for 6 Sock September. So finished this on the Saturday, and so finished 6 Sock September with 5 days to spare, 4 days to spare, something like that. So very, very pleased with that. This is just a vanilla sock. I cast on 72 stitches, knit on a US size 1 2mm needle. Is that right? 2.25? 2.25? I feel like I should remember. I say it like every episode. And I can't remember, and I can't find it now. Am I? 2.25. US 1 2.25mm needle. And I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. So this sock is also entered into the socks heel cal that's happening over on Instagram. So this is the first time I've done a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I really, really love it. That it fits my husband really, really well. I've got a pair of socks I'm knitting, but they're at home, that I've done for myself with a Fish Lips Kiss heel, so it'll be really interesting to see how I like the fit, because I usually do heel flap and gusset. It's just the way I've always made my socks. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how I feel that the Fish Lips Kiss heel fits because I really enjoyed doing it. So I really want it to fit because I kind of want it to be my go-to heel. So yeah, but that was it. So yeah, 2 finished objects were since last time. That's great. That's basically what I wanted to get done because it meant that I would be done with 6 o'clock September, and yeah, it meant that I could then bring a few other things with me while we're on holiday, and I wouldn't be tempted to knit them and then feel guilty if I did knit them and then didn't finish. But I finished, so before I finished Andrew's first sock, because I needed to measure for him before he was driving, I wasn't driving, so I needed to measure before we were out of the car, so I just cast the second sock on straight away. So this is the first of my whips. I'm halfway through a row. I was doing some knitting and walking when we were out earlier, so but there we are. Quite pleased with the progress so far. These have definitely been my car knitting and nothing else really. I've not been working on them when we've been at the house or anything like that, just in the car. So this is the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply in Hollyberry, and I really like how it's working up, and Andrew really likes it as well. So, and he's just discovered that he really likes wearing hand knit socks on their own, because usually until recently we were both wearing our hand knit socks, like only ever wearing them over a normal pair of socks, and wearing them like walking socks, like an extra layer, which was fine, but meant that we didn't get an awful lot of wear out of our socks because we don't do that much walking. So yeah, so it's been quite nice to have this revelation of sock wearing. So I feel like Andrew's going to be asking for more hand knit socks now because he's just going to want to wear them instead of normal socks. So, but there we are, that is the second sock. I need to do need to do 60 rounds, and I have done 40, so there's still a good amount of car knitting in those before I need to do the heel. The other thing that I like about the Fish Lips Kiss heel actually is that I feel like I can do it in the car. Sorry, I'm like playing with my hair a lot, but I don't know what it's doing. Yeah, I feel like I can do it in the car fairly easily. There's something about the heel flap and gusset, it always felt like it was interrupting my enjoyment of my knitting. Even though it's what I've always done, I never really thought to change it up because it's just how I knew how to knit socks. But it always felt like an interruption. Like if I was gonna stall on knitting a pair of socks, it was gonna be when the leg was finished, because I was like, oh, then I've got to knit the heel, and that's like a change in how you're doing things, and like then you've got to do all of those decreases which feel like they go on forever. But with the Fish Lips Kiss heel, something about it just kind of feels like you're still knitting, even though you're still knitting backwards and forwards. I don't know, it just, to me, it just felt like less of an interruption to my knitting. I know that might be weird, but that's me. So yeah, for the first time in weeks and weeks, I can show you something that isn't socks, because I'm actively working on things that aren't socks. Again, if you'd seen my vlog, which I will link up here and down here, then you might have seen, or you will have seen, that I packed my Christmas project bag from So Can Joe. This was the project bag in the Christmas in July advent calendar type thing that I got from Bumbling Yarns, who is the Lonely Knitter on Instagram, and I am using the mini skeins from that to make a blanket, just a simple garter stitch blanket, and I'm holding it double with some Fibre Spates Cumulus. I think I called it Columbus on my vlog, but it's called Cumulus, and this is in the pearl colourway. So yeah, I thought I had 24 skeins, because I've been saying that it was an advent calendar, but it wasn't exactly an advent calendar, it was just like 12 days of Christmas in July, I guess. So I only have 12 mini skeins. They are 20 gram minis, so I only cast on 150 stitches. I'm hoping that it will be enough to get a decent sized little kind of lap blanket thing, or maybe something for the kids. I don't know. But if it's not enough, then I've definitely got some mini skeins at home that I can play with and add in there. Oh, I'm sitting on my legs and my feet are going numb. Oh. So that's all in that project bag, which I really love. It's such a good size, and drawstrings, good handles, love it. I haven't got a progress keeper on this yet. Did I pack one? I hope so. Oh, I thought, oh, yes, there we go. I packed my Hobbit house. So I'll pop that on now, and then I'll be able to show you my progress next time. There it is. So yeah, it's really, really mindless knitting. I can just do it. I usually knit this a little bit like over breakfast, any time that we're kind of sat at the kitchen table, because it's really easy to just pick up and put down, because it doesn't matter where you are. When you pick it up, the next thing you have to do is knit. So yeah, it's kind of perfect holiday knitting in that sense, I think. I need a lot of easy to pick up stuff. So there we go. That's in that bag. And then the final project that I'm actively working on at the moment is in my Marauders map bag by, I can't remember. I feel like I've shown it before and not said. It's Clara Rose Crafts. So this is a fairly new purchase actually, and it's got some pins on, my Hufflepuff pin, my D&D Barbarian pin, and a couple of Lord of the Rings pins. So yeah, and in here is something that I've been working on for a long time, and I'm hoping to finish while we're away, but I don't know. And that is my Summer Sorrel, and the lighting is in no way showing off this yarn to the best, but it's so beautiful, and I really can't wait to be finished with this because I just want to wear it. I'm trying to think of ways that I can wear it in autumn and winter. I think I'm going to get some like plain long sleeved t-shirts to wear underneath, because I'm going to have to wear it when it's ready. So that's where I was when I last put it down, and so I've done this much since we've been away, and so I'm pretty pleased with that because I have been knitting on a couple of other things while we've been away. So yeah, I'm just over halfway through the final chart, so that and then I'll be splitting the sleeves, so then it's just knitting body island, sleeve island, but well, not so much sleeve island because it's a short sleeved top, but body island definitely. So then it's going to be kind of, I guess, fighting for car knitting. The yarn is from Skein and the Stitch, and I think it is now called Tropical Fish. When I bought it, it was called Confetti, but it's called Tropical Fish now, and I really, oh, is it this one that's called Tropical Fish? I think it is, but I really love it, so there we go. And my only concern is once I'm past the chart on this, is everything is just knitting. So that's a little bit of a concern, because am I just going to get really bored? So I do have This isn't started yet, but I do have some other yarn with me. So these socks might have to be more complicated in some way, so that I can have something more interesting to work on if I want. But so that is everything that I am actively working on. So acquisitions brings me nicely. Oh, I can show you this bag in acquisitions. This is one of the Fibre Foxes, one of their autumn bags. I got the one with the broomsticks on and this beautiful like orange, like paint splattered. I might try and get a better picture and insert that. It's beautiful, perfect sock size bag. Yeah, love it. I've got one other of their bags and I really love them, so yeah. My only kind of sad thing with being on holiday is that I ordered a lot of like Halloween and autumn coloured yarns, and they aren't going to come to me here, and they're all going to arrive at the house, at my house, and we're going to be away, and we don't get back until like the 12th or 13th of October, so that's already like 2 weeks, nearly 2 weeks into October, and I'm going to be like behind on the autumn and Halloween sock knitting, which is a bit disappointing, but never mind. My other acquisition is this. I got a ball of Rowan pure wool superwash worsted, 100 grams. Not sure what the colour is called, but it's a really nice kind of turquoisey blue green. And I bought this so I could make myself a pair of fingerless mittens, because I am in West Wales and it is much colder than I was expecting it to be. I mean, it's not that cold, but it's definitely chilly, definitely turning to autumn, and my hands are cold. So, and I particularly noticed it when I was driving. My hands got really cold and stiff. So I went to Colourway in Whitland and bought this. And I did get, she did print, I think she's called Teresa. She printed a pattern for me for some fingerless mitts. But I think I've actually decided that I'm going to design my own, which probably means that I'm not going to have fingerless mittens before I go home, but I will have mittens inspired by my holiday, knit in yarn that I bought whilst I was here. So yeah. And then my final acquisition is this. And we went to the National Wool Museum while we've been here, and it's absolutely fantastic. If you're ever in this area of the world, go to the National Wool Museum. It was so interesting. There was a few things that they couldn't have on, like machinery that they couldn't show and things like that, just because of all kind of knock-on effects of COVID and lockdown and things like that. So there was a few things that they couldn't show, which is a bit of a shame. And they've also had a lot of problems, which has meant that they can't do their spinning. So they're like really short on wool. So they haven't had a lot of things for sale. But I asked if they had any woolen blankets that they had woven in the mill, and they said they didn't, but that they had some offcuts from other things. And I'm going to stand up to show this to you, because I thought actually this was just as good as a blanket, because it is quite big. It is, it's as tall as me, so I think that's perfect. It is, because it's an offcut, it does have, I've just realised how dark it's gotten, sorry about that. I'll put the light on. Yeah. chopped a bit. Yeah, it is an offcut, so it does have like raw edges. But my plan is to just, if you've got a better idea, please feel free to leave that down below. But my plan is just to get some like fairly firm, almost like bias binding type stuff, and just sew that around the edge, just to stop it from fraying. Or I'll probably do just a straight stitch all the way around to hold it all in, and then put the bias binding on top. Like I'll do the straight stitch like here, and then I'll sew the bias binding like down a little bit further, so to keep it all together. But yeah, I was really pleased that I got this, because I wanted something that they had woven, because they were selling blankets woven in like Yorkshire, but I didn't want a blanket that was woven in Yorkshire. I wanted a blanket that was woven at their mill in Wales. So this is great. I like it very much. So yeah, that's all my whips. That's all my acquisitions. I'm just going to talk very quickly about 6 Sock September. By the time this video goes up, 6 Sock September will be over, but there will be a separate video to talk about everything. I'm going to do a wrap up. I'm going to show some pictures of people's finished things. I'll talk about my socks again, and I will draw the winners, or I will name the winners of the prizes. So that's going to be a separate video, but 6 Sock September, I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to be doing it again next year. I might tweak it slightly, but yes, next year there will definitely be another 6 Sock September. So thank you for joining in if you took part, and if you didn't take part, then don't worry, it will be back next year. So if you are not interested in hearing about my holiday, then that's absolutely fine. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. But if you would like to hear just a little bit about our holiday so far, then feel free to stick around. Yeah, I think it's been a week. I missed a week of podcast, but the week that I didn't podcast, we did quite a lot because my husband was off work for an extra week. So we did lots, but I can't remember what it was that we did. So I'm not going to go that far back and try and remember. But then on the Friday of that week, we travelled from Norfolk to Derbyshire, which is where my husband and I are from, and where Andrew's parents live still. And we stayed with them just to break the journey up, because it would be quite a long journey to drive from Norfolk to West Wales. And I know it seems ridiculous to go Norfolk to Derbyshire, but we have children, and we know that they can do the Norfolk to Derbyshire length of time with the amount of stops that we can do on the way. And so then the length of the trip from Derbyshire to the house in West Wales was about the same amount of time. So we thought that would work out. Whereas if we'd gone from Norfolk to West Wales, it would have been like 6 hours rather than like 3.5 hours. And then on top of that, we'd have to add in stops. So it would have been basically being in the car literally all day from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So, and yeah, the Friday drive was pretty rough. Rory, our youngest, hated every second of it. I think there was about a 20-minute period where he wasn't crying, and then he wasn't crying when we were not in the car, but then as soon as we put him back in the car, he would cry. So that was quite rough, and we were then obviously really not looking forward to getting back in the car the day after. But I think I don't know what it was, but the next day everybody was in much better moods, and he didn't scream at all. So that was nice, and we made much better time than we thought we were going to. We were asked to sort of not check in before 3, so we left and aimed to be here for 5, and then we got to like, you know, an hour away, and we was like, we're gonna be there for like 2:30, is that okay? And they were like, yeah, that's fine. So yeah, that was much better than we had thought. I think Rory fell asleep just after we'd done a rest stop, so we could just drive then until he woke up, and then we just got out of the car, fed him a little bit, and then back in the car. And Aidan was fine because we can chat to him and he can look out the window and things, so he was happier. So that was good. And then while we've been here, what have we done so far? We went to an amazing like theme park, I guess. It's called Folly Farm, and I was expecting it to be like a farm, but it was so much more than a farm. It was, I don't know, it was a farm and a zoo, and like there was adventure play and so many different kind of play areas with different themes, like pirate themes and like digger themes. It was amazing. And there was a fairground, like a fun fair, an indoor fun fair. So Aidan went on his first carousel ride, and yeah, it was so wonderful. And I'm kind of sad that we did it so early in the trip, because there's been a couple of rough days where the things that we've been doing have not been that interesting for small children, and so we've had some little tantrums and some not so little tantrums. So I kind of like, if we'd had Folly Farm in the back pocket kind of thing, then we could be pulling that out tomorrow, and maybe everybody would be in a bit of a better mood. But as it is, we can't do that. And we've no idea what to do tomorrow. It is supposed to be really wet tomorrow. So I don't know what we're going to do. I don't really want to get completely drenched, because we then, like, tomorrow's Thursday, and then we leave on Saturday first thing, so I don't want everybody's clothes to be wet when we have to pack on Friday. So, and there's no dryer here, but there is a utility room where the boiler is, and that seems to heat the room up quite nicely, and things have been drying fairly quickly, so cross your fingers for that. But yeah, it's been really nice, really restful. We saw this awesome thing, which is like, I don't know, feels like, you know, City Mouse, is it City Mouse goes to the country or whatever, or is it normally Country Mouse goes to the city? I don't know, but like there's like a milk vending machine, so you could just go up, you buy a bottle, and you put it in the cabinet thing and press the button, and it dispenses milk and milkshake. And we were just amazed by this. So we've been a couple of times, and we've now got milk bottles that we can bring home as souvenirs. So yeah, that was just probably really lame, but we were amazed. Somebody else was getting milk when we arrived, and they said like, oh, you go first. And I was like, no, I'm just here to watch. I'm not getting any milk. And then when I saw it, I was like, I have to get some milk, because I'm so cool. So yeah, I think that is really all I have to say that's interesting. We've been doing some nice walking. We went to Tenby today, which was nice. It was cold though, so we had a bit of time on the beach, but everybody was a bit tired, so we came home. And then we went to Amroth, where we had the worst fish and chips I've ever had from a pub. I feel like I should say the name, because there is another pub where the fish and chips get quite a good review, and we couldn't go there because we were trying to get food too early. But this other pub bar that we went into, the fish and chips were bad, really bad. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing, but c'est la vie. Yeah, I think that is everything I have to say. This is probably the shortest podcast I have ever done, but yeah, I haven't got loads to talk about, and I'm aware that it's just getting dark around me, and soon I'll just be like the reflection of my phone in my glasses and these two blinding lights. So yeah, so check out the vlog if you haven't already. Keep your eye open for the 6 sock September announcements, and then yeah, probably most likely I will do another podcast when we get home, so probably be another week before there's a podcast. I'd wanted to do a vlog of my knitting, but actually when I do a podcast you would be learning everything that I would have to tell you in a vlog. So yeah, and I'm still not really that comfortable with vlogs. I'm kind of toying with the idea of doing Vlogtober, but doing it slightly differently, so not doing it every day, but just doing like maybe a week wrap up or something like that. I don't know. I like the idea of vlogging, but then when it comes to it, I never know what to vlog. Here's me with my screaming children. So yeah, there we go. We'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.